Yeah, it would appear it looks like Keve wasn't able to hop on quite yet, so I think we can skip over for now. I see we have Carter, or would you like to take over the AWS section a little bit?
Yeah, I can present the rest of the AWS part.
Beautiful, thank you.
Sure. Share screen. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to provide an update regarding the AWS Service Catalog and the UiPath Robot container. The Service Catalog is our entry point of the entire AWS resource automation. So our Service Catalog hierarchy consists of multiple levels, including portfolios, products, and provisioned products. By doing that, we wish to make our AWS assets more reusable and flexible. So we also try to simplify the process of provisioning resources. So whenever internal or external customer need a new environment, they come to a service catalog, choose the sandwich from the menu, enter a few parameters, and then get it up and running in a few minutes without knowing too much AWS details under the hood. We keep following the agreed pattern to develop products. We still build infrastructure code in TypeScript through CDK and pack the output as a CloudFormation templates for deployment. And as an end user, they will just navigate to predefined service catalog to kick off those deployment. It may not be easy to see this completed product list from this snapshot, but we have built a few completed one. I do want to highlight this Elastic Kubernetes service that Keva and Josh created together. Although at this moment, we do not have a real use case for such heavy container workload yet. It does give us the opportunity to commit to host complex multi-tier microservices whenever needed. And in terms of use case, we find that playing with Hello World sample application may not be enough. So we want to run a real application that other Anika teams are working with. And then the UiPath robot come to our vision. So we know that we have another team working on Azure deployment, and we just want to achieve the same goal in AWS as well. So so far, we're able to run the UiPath robot container in both Linux and Windows. So the Windows image come from the RPA team. The Anika own the source code of the deployment, so which give us the flexibility to choose different Windows OS parent as well as the desired UiPath robot executable version. And we invoke the PowerShell script to handle additional action before and after robot installation. However, at this moment, this image hard code the URL and credentials. So when it needs to communicate with a different UiPath orchestrator, we have to change the script or config files, which definitely needs to be improved in the next sprint. And another disadvantage of this Windows container image is the size. So the parent Windows contribute the majority of the size, and probably we can seek for a more lightweight parent later on. And on the other hand, we have the Linux image available as well. It directly pulled from UiPath, and they manage image for us. And because in this case, I would say we only have a selected subset of the version to choose, but we do see some benefits. So it did a better job on parameter parameterize those configurations, and that image is reusable. So we can simply pass some runtime values to let it communicate with different orchestrator without touching the image. And since it's Linux, it's smaller, and smaller in our deployment means faster. And then we deploy that Linux image to our ECS Fargate cluster and use the desired state deployment concept, which means that we only indicate like how many nodes we want to deploy without worrying about the steps of a deployment. So and it gives us the ability to scale up and down easily, in and out easily. Whenever you see that you desire more nodes than the actual running one, so it will create a new nodes for you. And we do have the health check placeholder there. So if that health check doesn't pass, it will create a new node to replace the bad one. But at this moment, we don't have the enough knowledge like how to define the appropriate health check. So that is also something we want to improve in the next sprint. And in our AWS environment, we have a fully controlled network. So by default, it's using the private link in a VPC. And if we want, we can make it public, and it depends on where the orchestrator is hosted. So we can set up some either VPC peering or have some private link to make the communication more secured. And as a next step, we will keep improving our parameters, and we try to let customer to determine whether they want to deploy the entire stack in a new VPC, or if they want, they can use the existing one. And we'll keep investing the parameters in both CDK and the CloudFormation, and we also want to define some high frequency configurations. And we also wish that our deployment doesn't work alone, so it can integrate with other services. So for example, in our UiPath deployments, so when it goes to the orchestrator, so it can take the task from there, but in our AWS environment, we can now see the actual workload. So we don't know whether our provisioned node enough or not. So that usage information has to come from the UiPath. So if we can fire a Lambda function to get those information from their API or whatever log, then we can use that information to scale up our the desired state number and try to provide enough node to support that workload. And we have done some work in UiPath. We also attempt something for Databricks, but at this moment, due to some lack of knowledge on the account information, so that deployment hadn't gone through yet. So hopefully in next sprint, we can make that Databricks deployment work as well, make it demo ready. So that concludes all my part for AWS Service Catalog and UiPath hosting. Is there any question before I pass it to next presenter? Okay. Now then, let me see who is the next one. Carter, maybe?
Yep.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Mo. All right. All right. So good afternoon, everyone. Why is it now loading? There we go. All right. So